What's going on? Straight to the point, sports and entertainment. Be sure to hit the like button, sub to the channel if you're not a member, and also hit the notifications too. I want to talk about Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys deciding not to make a coaching change right quick. I think the main reason why the Cowboys decided to go ahead and stay with Mike McCarthy is for a couple reasons. One, I sat back and I had to understand what was really taking place. Now, in another video, I had mentioned real briefly about what was going on with the Cowboys. And a lot of what was going on with the Cowboys was out of Coach Mike McCarthy's control. And look, I'm not a huge Mike McCarthy fan at all. Not even a Cowboys fan, but Mike McCarthy, I'm not a big fan of him. Do I think he is a good coach? He was good for his time when he had that personnel that he did when he was in Green Bay and they won a championship. But that's been a long time. And in this case right here, I feel like Mike McCarthy should have been given a fair shake. One, like I said, it was the injury. They had a ton of injuries this season, okay, and they were having to change things on the fly. They were having to regroup real quick, and I felt like it would have been unfair to Mike McCarthy. Now, last season, I would have understood it. And that was the reason. The reason was because of his play calling. He's really getting a fair chance. Now, one thing I could say about Jerry Jones is that this guy will stick with you. I know a lot of people talk a lot of trash about Jerry Jones and he needs to get out of there and let his sons go ahead and take over and everything, which I completely understand. I'm on board with that. But the one thing that you can't say about Jerry Jones is that the amount of chances that he's given people. Let's start with Romo. As good as Romo was in the regular season, Romo cost the Cowboys a lot of possible championships and possible trips to compete for a championship. Okay, but year after year, he stuck with Romo. Now it may have been the relationship that he had with Jerry. Okay. He was real close to Jerry Jones. That may have played a factor in it. Another example is when as many years as he stuck with Jason Garrett. He stuck with him year after year until finally he said, okay, now we need to make a change. So those right there off the top of my head were a couple of examples where Jerry has given guys opportunity after opportunity to bounce back and make up for what they did. And let's not even get into Michael Irvin, who is one of my top receivers of all time. I mean, he gave Michael Irvin a lot of chances. I mean, that's that was the Cowboys' MO anyways. You know, they had a whole bunch of guys on the team that tended to cause a lot of trouble. But when it came to them performing on the field, hey, they never had any problems with that, and they were able to go ahead and do their jobs. Now off the field, you know, hey, they really didn't make the best decisions. But getting back to Mike McCarthy, I think that the Cowboys wanted to go ahead and stick with him. Now, I also felt like it would have also been unfair for them to get rid of Dak too, because or to trade him or not pay him or whatever the case is, because like Mike McCarthy, okay, Dak was dealt a bad hand this season. Okay, they came in with all the expectations of them winning the championship, and it looked like that up until the injuries started happening. And I know what people are going to say. Well, injuries are a part of the game. It's the next man up mentality, things of that nature. But there are starters in there for a reason. Okay, there are starters and there are backups, for a reason. You're a backup or you're a third stringer for a reason. Okay, so I don't want to hear any of that, because and especially when you probably haven't practiced with that that squad long enough in order for you to develop some sort of chemistry. You're having to do that right on the fly. Like I said, you're having to do that right off the rip without any type of decent preparation in the off season in case those things happen. They just sometimes don't properly prepare for those situations. But in this case, I felt like they were both dealt a bad hand, both Dak and Mike McCarthy. Now, they still should have put up a better fight than they did against the Green Bay Packers. Them being beat by a 7 seed for the first time in history, that was huge. And then on top of that, them getting beat by a rival at that, and then them coming in their home and doing it, because that's the same thing that happened, I want to say the year before last, when the 49ers pretty much just came in and took control of the Cowboys in their own stadium. And we're talking about the 49ers. You have to beat that team. You have to beat Green Bay. Now, there are some factors that I'm looking at too. See, when we talk about the Cowboys, the Texans actually have more playoff wins than the Cowboys. They have five playoff wins, and I think the Cowboys have 4. I think they surpassed them, and so and it's been over the year. I couldn't remember the exact stat, but I just remember the Texans winning more games than them in the playoffs, and the Texans are about to go ahead and possibly beat the Ravens. I don't think that that's going to happen, but they they got a chance. Nobody expected the Texans to be making noise like they are. But anyway, the Cowboys, they choose to stick with Mike McCarthy. Now, I think if he doesn't get it done this year, and if Dak doesn't do it this year, because the thing about Dak is that they want to see him, and Mike McCarthy too, they want to get to a Super Bowl. They want to at least get to an NFC championship. You know, they want to get that far. It's kind of like if they don't make it, then the season is pretty much pointless. Okay, so I think that's what Jerry wants. That's what the organization want. That's what the organization wants. And I got to take my hats off to Jerry, man. He's a good businessman. You know, he's smart. Now, do I think his time has come to where his son needs to go ahead and take over the reins? Yeah, absolutely. You know, but you can't deny that Jerry Jones is a man of opportunity. That's one thing I won't take away from Jerry Jones. And I know some people are going to talk about that whole issue, you know, the racism issue and stuff like that. Look, man, that's a whole. I've already talked about that before. You know my feelings on it, but I'm just talking about in terms of him running the organization because, hey, he's still the owner, and you still got to play, you know, for him, and he's the one that's cutting the check. So, you know, look, man, we'll see what happens going forward, but I know that they're on thin ice going into next year. They're going to be on thin ice, and I wouldn't be surprised if he made that decision to let Mike McCarthy go next season if they don't get it done, and then also, you know, cut ties with Dak too as well, and possibly let him walk. But y'all let me know what you think, man. Leave your comments. Make sure you like this video and share it. Also, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and sub to the channel, and also hit the notifications. Until then, I'll be getting at y'all later.